Not officially coffee and calendar, but we are going to talk about a subject from my calendar. And today we're going to talk about Saturn retrograde. Okay, first of all, let's just get the retrograde idea or concept explained and out of the way, because I think that a lot of people have this perception when they hear the word retrograde that it's bad, that it's negative, that it's challenging, that it's uncomfortable. And while, yes, all of these things can be true, it's no less a significant part of the process that does, in fact, move us forward as people, individually, and as a collective. Retrogrades are not scary. They are just simply periods of time where the energy, the archetypes, the topics, the themes of that planet are turned inward. It's an introspective time frame. And all of the planets, with the exception of the luminaries, the sun and the moon, all go retrograde for different periods of time. Some longer than others, some more frequently than others. Mercury is the one that we most commonly think of when we think of retrogrades. It being in the microwave again, which it currently is right now. So it's a good idea to just understand on the outset, on the onset, or whatever, that a retrograde is a moment of rest. Usually when you have a planet in retrograde, there's not a lot of action being taken towards anything having to do in the realm of that planet. Additionally, when you see many planets in retrograde, as we have now, which I think we've got Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Mercury. I feel like there's one more I'm missing. Uranus. These are all outer planets. These are all, pretty much all the outer planets except Pluto. You're going to see a slowdown, a pause of collective action. Sometimes it can feel like the calm before the storm, or maybe like you're in the eye of a hurricane. That's kind of where we are now, if I'm being honest. Between now and I would say like February through March, April, spring of next year, we are in the eye of a very large hurricane. Not to scare you, not to fearmonger you, but this is a good time to rest. Okay, that's kind of as a aside. I probably could have done a separate video on that, but whatever, and maybe I will. So Saturn, and I took some notes because, why not? Saturn, when it's retrograde, we are thinking about, we are reviewing. Retrograde, reviewing. Structures, our structures, and that's a collective level as well as a personal level, and that's the same as above, so below. Our habits, restrictions, and your relationship to authority. In mundane astrology, Saturn also rules government and policy change. So, let me give you the time frames. Saturn has actually been retrograde, and I'm making this video, one, because it came up in the calendar on November 12th, and two, because we are actually about to come out of a Saturn retrograde. So from July 13th until November 27th, so what are we? We're on the 20th today. So in a week, next Thursday, we're November right now, November 27th, Saturn is going to station direct. It's going to start taking action on and moving forward with everything that it's been experiencing, soaking in, reevaluating, reconsidering, rethinking. for the last 5 months, wait, July, August, September, October, November. Yeah, 5 months. So from July 13th through November 27th, you may have noticed that while it's felt very chaotic, we really haven't done anything with this information. We haven't taken action on any of this information. But it would be very difficult to deny that we all haven't collectively almost woken up, okay? So this retrograde started in Aries and it went back into Pisces. So we are dealing with spirituality, our boundaries with people, and even with like our governments. Like, how much of a boundary do we want between the self and the government or institutions? We're also dealing with Aries energy. That's leadership. It's conflict. How much conflict is necessary to maintain boundaries between self and institution? Would be a really good way to like wrap this particular retrograde up, now that I'm speaking and it's just kind of coming into my mind. So during that period, we have so much information and data that we've been living through. We've been living through historical times, no doubt. So much has happened that has caused us to question our institutions and our relationship to our governments, to banking systems, the housing system. Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. All of those things that are Capricorn in nature, we have been reevaluating them, but from a Piscean and an Aries perspective. So on September, just other dates, September 1st is when it went back into Pisces. That's when that shift between conflict, leadership, taking action kind of slid back even more into a more spiritual perspective, a more like time for rest, time for really trying to evaluate where there should be boundaries, where there's not, and vice versa. It's going to go back into Aries on February 13th. Okay, so we are in a period now from November 27th until February 13th where we're going forward and taking action towards our spiritual perspective and relationship with institutions. And then once February 13th rolls around, we're going to shift into, this is one of the transits that have a lot of astrologers going like, oh my God, like from February to like April, like, anyway, not to fearmonger. So I want to quickly try to cover something just to give you a practical example. Roe v. Wade, passed January 22nd, 1973. This overturned the idea that federally gay marriage couldn't be protected. So at the time, I'm sorry, not that. I'm sorry. My brain's not working. Abortion couldn't be protected. Sorry. Brain broken. In that time frame, Saturn was retrograde at 14 degrees of Gemini. So again, we're reflecting and reviewing policy. So Saturn retrogrades are actually prominent times for new Supreme Court cases to be introduced, be passed, be overturned. At the time, Saturn was trine Uranus in Libra. So there was a positive flow between a chaotic situation, like a rebellious energy, and this policy change. In 2022, on June 24th, they actually overturned it, and Saturn was at 24 degrees retrograde of Aquarius. You know what? I'm just going to make a quick follow-up video because I'm running out of time. So if you want to check it out, watch the video right after this one. I'll be right back.